It's Angel from Pair with Angel, where we talk about project management, fitness, career progression, and what you can do to level up in this life. So, I want to share something that's been on my mind lately, a trend I've noticed around the idea of emotional intelligence, or as I like to call it, intelligence of / over your emotions. You see, emotional intelligence, or EI as it's often called, is everywhere these days. Workplace seminars, leadership books, self-help guides, and yeah, it's important, right? But here's the thing. I don't always love the way it's talked about. In fact, I think some common misunderstandings around EI are holding many people back. And that's why I prefer to reframe it as intelligence of / over your emotions. Because to me, that better describes what EI should be about, actively refining how we understand and regulate our own emotions. So today, I want to break down 3 big misunderstandings about emotional intelligence, why they matter, and how this reframing has helped me personally in both work as well as relationships. So let's get into it. Misunderstanding number 1. EI is about being nice or soft. A lot of people think emotional intelligence means being overly nice, soft, or just agreeing with everyone to avoid conflict. But that's not what it's all about. Truth be told, true emotional intelligence is about balance, understanding emotions and using them effectively, even in tough situations, right? For example, in the workplace, EI might mean giving constructive feedback without tearing someone down or setting boundaries while still being empathetic. In personal relationships, it's about navigating those hard conversations in a way that strengthens the bond instead of breaking it, right? And let me tell you, this misunderstanding can mess things up badly. At work, you might avoid conflicts if you're maintaining this thought process and this whole mentality about keeping the peace. But that could cost you your credibility as well as how people trust and seeing you as a leader, and in personal relationships, of course, right? You risk enabling a lot of toxic behavior with this mentality or misunderstanding of what EI can be, right? And that's why we need that balance to ensure that not only are we empathetic, but we're firm in how we frame ourselves, especially in a situation like this, right? So moving on to number 2, the second misunderstanding. EI is something you're born with or not. The second big misunderstanding about this that kind of irks me a little bit is that it's really restrictive. It kind of destroys that growth mindset, right? So meaning that you either born with or you're not, meaning emotional intelligence is innate. And this is just not true. It's not even close to being true. EI is a skill, right? And like any skill, you build it up, you develop it, you create more of it through your actions and continuous refinement of it, right? That's why my reframing comes in. And when you think about it as intelligence of / over your emotion, it becomes an ongoing process of refinement, right? You're actively learning about your emotional patterns, refining how you respond to those triggers and building better habits over time, right? And this applies everywhere, right? At work, I've seen people assume they're just bad at managing emotions and give up because they're stuck in unproductive cycles, and in their own personal life, that I should just get it, that the mentality and attitude can leave partners frustrated or disconnected, which is even worse, right? So don't buy into this whole myth about you either born with it or not. No, it's a skill. You build this skill up so that not only can you improve in it, but you can eventually become a master of it, right? So moving on to mistake number 3. EI means suppressing your emotions, being the stoic, being the person that in all odds, you never show any emotions towards anything. Just plain. All right, so here's the last one, right? Some people think being emotionally intelligent means you suppress your emotions, right? Just stuff it down. Just stuff it down, right? And stay calm. Never let them show any distraughtness or any emotion towards anything, right? But that's not what it's about, right? It really is about, learning your emotions, because what happens when you suppress your emotions, you become it becomes worse because it leads to outbursts or even burnout, because emotions are not meant to be kept in, right? It's meant to be processed in order for you to understand it, regulate it, and then express it in a way that's productive, right? So instead of stuffing it in, it's about recognition of it, right? It's about regulation of it. You're acknowledging your emotions, you're understanding where they're coming from, and choosing how to respond to it, right? And it's about that response that mastery comes from just not ignoring it, but creating your own emotional landscape so that you are in control. So think about it. At work, suppression of emotion can lead to poor morale. And when you think about it from a mission onset, and I don't care if you wasn't prior military, I know you understand what I mean by mission onset. When you're on that trajectory, you're trying to achieve that task, you're trying to achieve those goals and stuff like that, it can become something that is turning into something that you wouldn't like, right? Like passive aggressiveness in particular, because you don't have grasp over your emotions. So now they start to manifest in other ways, right? Especially in not only how you correlate with your peers or any of your work peers, to be more exact, but also in your relationship, because it creates barriers. So you got one person on this side, one person on that side, and now it's the middle that you need to worry about, right? It's that common place where it becomes very, very difficult, right? And that barrier that you created, it doesn't allow any connections. Everything in the middle right here, there's nothing connecting it back to how you could correspond with that person. Especially when you start bottling all these things up. And instead of talking about it, it becomes something of an explosion, especially when it comes to conversations. So let me bring this to a personal standpoint, especially over some of my own thoughts, mentalities, and frameworks for me dealing with my own emotions, right? So bringing it back to that reframing that I talked about earlier, intelligence of/over your emotions, right? To me, this captures two key ideas. First, the intelligence of your emotions is about awareness, right? Knowing your triggers, understanding your patterns, and figuring out why you feel what you feel. Second, the intelligence over your emotions is about control, responding intentionally, and that's the word, intentionally, rather than reacting impulsively. And look, I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some time, right? Especially in leadership roles or in my relationships, right? But the more I focus on understanding and regulating my own emotions, right, the better I become at navigating difficult situations and connecting with people on a deeper level. Because it's a mirror. How I want is what I want to reflect. And without awareness or refinement over my emotions, what I will reflect will come back onto me tenfold. It's how I see it and how I'm framing it. And this is the reason why I reframed it from emotional intelligence to intelligence of/over emotion, right? So those are the three big misunderstandings I see around emotional intelligence. That's about being nice, fixed, and suppressing your emotions. And it really isn't about any of that stuff. And hopefully you can see why I reframed it towards intelligence of/over your emotions, which makes such a difference. It's not just a buzzword. It's a skill you can refine and use to level up in this life. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever ran into these misunderstandings, especially in your workplace or even in your relationship? What do you think about this reframing that I provided, which is intelligence of/over your emotions? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who might need to hear this. And remember, you're either learning or you're earning, but the most optimal is both. Until next time, peace. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and turn on your notifications for weekly updates. Like, comment, and share. Check out my other videos on professional growth and project management to take your skills to the next level.